Welcome to my show on innovation. Hey Arun, good morning. How are you doing?
Very well. Good morning.
You are basically a robotics guy, right? So you have nailed down or drilled down to your product originating from robotics, right? So can you just go through the journey of how did you arrive to this raised legs, okay, from the origin of robotics?
So, my background is in the biomechanics of locomotion as to how animals walk and run. And it turns out that whether it is an elephant, lion, human, dog, or a cockroach, irrespective of the mass, or whether it is hundreds of legs, 8, 6, 4, or 2 legs, mathematically they all walk the same. They have the same leg stiffness to body weight ratio. So, that being said, whether it's a robot or a wooden prosthetic leg, the premise is that if you can make the leg a spring of tuned stiffness, then they'll be able to, walk and run. So when you have, exoskeletal suits, or even the Big Dog, Alpha Dog by Boston Dynamics, essentially those are springs. Coming to prosthetics, you have the carbon fiber legs. That too is a compliant spring. It doesn't look like a natural looking leg, but mathematically that is a spring of tuned stiffness.
Okay, what's the fundamental difference between the ortho and the other one is a prosthete, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Orthosis and a prosthesis.
Yeah.
So it might look similar in some measure, but they are fundamentally two very different devices. A prosthesis is when you don't have a limb, and the device, a prosthetic device, then substitutes the missing limb. That's a prosthesis. An orthosis is when you have a malfunctioning limb, like you have a weak knee joint or your muscles are weak, and then you need a device that substitutes or augments the limb. So an orthosis is a brace that will augment the performance of the malfunctioning limb. It can be the leg, it can be the hand, it can be the back, whatever. So that is fundamentally the difference between a prosthesis that substitutes a missing limb and an orthosis that augments a malfunctioning limb.
So, raised legs, what category does it fall? Prosthesis?
It's a prosthesis.
Yes.
It's definitely a prosthesis because it's for amputees that have a missing limb. Any part of their leg that is missing, that's when you use a prosthetic leg.
Right. So, how did this idea to create this raised leg product, how did this originate?
So it really was a curiosity-based question for me. Given that you have prosthetic legs that are essentially a spring of tuned stiffness, then you have cane furniture, very abstractly, and that cane furniture that's bent in all these beautiful shapes, but yet it can take a person's weight. That fundamentally makes it a spring too. So it really, for me, was a curiosity-based question. Can you then make a prosthetic leg out of cane?
Yeah.
And, I went to the local artisan and I asked him, can you bend cane about this shape? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, can you make it about this big? It's like, sure. And I was like, can it take the weight of a human body?
Does it not break? It's not brittle?
I can assure you, we've done material testing at the aerospace department at the Indian Institute of Science, and it is tested to 3 times the person's body weight, wherein it is then expected to flex about an inch.
Okay.
At 3 times the person's body weight.
Okay.
I'm not talking about failure.
Okay.
I'm not talking about failure. It'll just flex an inch at 3 times the person's body weight.
So one question here is when it gets bent.
Yeah.
Okay. So, don't you think there is any issue related to the bending, right?
Right.
So, because the physical posture of the body is something different,
Right.
but you are adding a limb
Right.
to that,
Right.
where it's already a bent based on the posture of your body.
Right.
So, does it change over a period of time, or have you taken that consideration?
Are you talking about fatigue of sorts, or are you talking about the geometrical construction of
Yeah,
the
geometrical deviation of the human body.
Right.
Yeah, based on the bend, what you
Right.
on the cane, right? So yeah.
I think I understand your question, and again, this is premised on sound science, wherein be it the alignment, you have the weight line, wherein the center of mass, falls down at a certain region, what we call the plane of support, and as long as you have a base, the feet is grounded within the plane of support, it's properly aligned, and also it is strong enough to take, it's compliant enough to take the body's weight during motions, then it would be a sound limb, a prosthetic leg. And I've consulted with doctors, prosthetists, patients, and also academicians before having a person even get into the prosthetic. So it's based on absolutely sound science.
Right. So this is the bend what we are talking about, right?
Right. So this is for the sports version.
Okay.
Right. As you can see, it's one bend.
Okay.
One geometrical construction.
Okay.
And given that this is for sports, it's not statically stable, because when you run, you're on the toes of your feet, wherein you are dynamically stable but statically not.
Yeah.
But wherein for everyday use, you have such a device that is statically stable. As you can see, there is a heel component.
Right. This
in
is this portion is that, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And also when you put this, it stays. As you
So
can see.
that means the heel is the same as this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So this is for everyday using, wherein it is statically stable. People can stand, they can walk with it, and this is more so. But to run and play, just so this is dynamically stable. This is much more lighter, more bouncier.
Yeah. So how long this took for you to build this product from the conceive till the product came out, right?
Right. So I guess it's always in a process of refinement and empirical innovation, right? That it's still further being developed. It's still further being developed, and but from ideation to having the first user wear the prosthesis, it actually took me about 5-6 months. That too, I was rushing to go back and finish my PhD, and I had no intention of staying here and let alone starting a venture. I had no intention, but since I was on a very short timeline, I was very aggressive in getting things done. So in bringing together resources, testing, and then talking to all the stakeholders, it was definitely a quick, but nevertheless, I was careful in fitting it before I fitted it to any user, that they were absolutely safe. No two ways about it.
Okay. So where are the applications currently that you're targeting, or is somebody using this?
Oh yeah. No, in fact, we have users that are that have everyday users who would previously wear their prosthetic leg for 3 hours because of the weight, and that was inflexible. Now with Rise legs, they are wearing it for 13 hours a day, given that it is lighter in weight, flexible. We have people that have taken up bodybuilding, marathons, dancing. In fact, we just came back from from Zurich, competing on a world stage. And our boys timed in 3 races. Our boys timed first in 2 of them, and they timed second. They did really well. So we have from an 8-year-old girl to a 68-year-old gentleman wearing this.
So I heard a fashion model, right?
Yes.
So she used your legs, and she won the ramp show, or
with the case of this lady, she was not using Rise legs, but as a part of the Rise program, the fashion program, we had her. We tied her up with Myra, a boutique store in Indranagar, Bangalore, and got her custom clothes, and that she wore and placed first. She placed first in her fashion show. And then again, you see, here at Rise Legs, just as much as we make prosthetic legs, we're really not a product company. This is our goal.
So, are you a research lab, or if somebody wants to know about what Rise Leg is all about,
right?
So, how do you want to explain to them?
I would say,
but you're not selling this commercially now.
We are selling it commercially. We are selling it commercially, but I think in setting the culture and the value of Rise Legs, what I do know is we are not in the prosthetic and orthotic business. That I can tell you for a fact. But I would rather like to say that we are in the people business. Whatever is best for our customers, our clients, we do that. That is why, even if it is users of other prosthetic legs, if there is in some facet they feel we can enhance it, of course, not voiding their warranties and all of that, being absolutely thoughtful about that. At the same time, that's why, since we are really in the people business, that is why the Rise program, the sports, dance, fashion, that's integral to who we are. Thereby, we are also working on the process innovation, wherein we are streamlining the process, wherein people can be from awareness to being educated to then choosing, and all the way up to fitting and servicing of the prosthesis. That is, in some measure, one would say that is outside of the purview of.
So your success is based completely on the process innovation, what you are currently.
I would very much say so, because process innovation, but at the same time also, it's about building community.
Right.
Be it not just of the users,
but
also of ancillary services, be it of organizations, be it of essentially the key stakeholders of multiple facets.
Right.
It is most important that we build a community wherein everybody grows.
Right.
It's not just a device.
Yes.
There are so many other facets to it that, as I was talking about, it comes in from the awareness aspect of it, wherein we've connected with multiple communities, support groups in helping us compile information that can create awareness, not just on a knowledge, but then also emotional support to first-time amputees on the way forward, the strength required, educating the caregivers also, because sometimes concern can be misplaced. Most physically challenged people don't need sympathy. They don't.
I agree.
They need empathy. But unknowingly or out of good intention, many caregivers or even community members sympathize. So in some measure educating them, but then also providing sound medical, scientific knowledge that is vetted through peer review, giving them access to such tips and tricks of sorts, or limb care, and then also again fitting them with good prosthetic legs, because there are nuances that matter: the alignment, the fitting, the comfort, the service required. Educating them that it's absolutely normal and natural that your body will change shape. That therefore it is important to visit the clinic every 6 months eventually, because this is not like a shoe where you buy it and you forget about it. This is more like a car that needs constant maintenance. Not so much so because the prosthesis requires maintenance, but rather because the human body will change shape. So therefore you need to adapt the prosthesis to the ever-changing human body.
I know it's going to make a huge difference for the people who really need this, because people do want to run, do want to dance.
Nothing less. And you know, that's one thing about Rise Legs too, which is, you know, we've got thousands of people wanting the leg, but then we are releasing it in a phased manner, because without having the proper service infrastructure and and it's important that we identify quality partners, because we're not in the numbers game, so quality of utmost importance, and so it's an organic growth that we're looking at, and it's a matter of when.
Thank you so much, and nice to have you on my show.
The pleasure. Thank you very much. Right?
Thank you.
Thank you.